That's a very lucky cat. But how did it get to 1600 multiplier? And can it go even higher? The start here is very straightforward. We play a house, we beat this in one hand. Then we buy a joker so we can live. I like the Mr. Flush or whatever you call him here. We might as well use the hex as well, because as soon as I get something else, I have to destroy a joker with that. Then we get the banana for good luck. It will explode very soon though, because we're finding some very specific parts of this build. First up is a hack to reactivate any card below 5, and surprise, we have a lucky 3 with a red seal. I buy the reroll surplus here as well, because I am going to reroll 1,000 times in this run, so it's definitely a reasonable investment. Now, we don't have to go all in on heart cards now, but because I have the lucky card, I might as well try to trigger it. If I get more money, we can do more rerolls, we can find more cool things sooner, hopefully. At this point, the most important part is to find a reasonable balance. I want to save as much money as possible, because I need to dig for the cat quite soon. But I also need to invest in some of these cards. With mult cards, more lucky cards would be even better, so that we actually have enough score to survive the rounds. Mr. Shad helps, and we can also get, I think, some mult cards out of the Emperor here, which to me seems like the most reasonable choice. We hold on to the Temperance because we will have another joker or two soon, so it will be worth slightly more. These fantastic reactivates on the first card, adding a massive 3 score. But the banana and the flush is still carrying everything here. For the boss, I'm not certain that I can draw a full hand of hearts. I do have way more spades, so why not? It's not like I'm gonna trigger the lucky card and make millions of Balatro dollars at this point anyway. And here are some more important pieces. The showman, which will allow us to find multiples of the jokers that we actually want to use. And a negative dice, so now we can use the temperance for a bit more money. I buy the red seal, we can stick that on something to get enough score to live through a hand later. And we can make more mult cards. The dice at this point has only given me a 2 in 5 chance and 2 in 15 for the cash, but it's still activating a reasonable amount of times. But it also destroys the banana straight away. So banana, thank you for your service. We are now moving on to something else. It turns out bananas are deathly allergic to dice. So here I have more hands to play, but I think if I just slap the red seal on here, we should have enough score. We already have basically the lucky card that we need. We can clone it with death cards and we can find some cryptids and that kind of stuff. And sooner or later we will have only the one cool 3. I think I have enough money here to dig now. We get the death card because that can create another one of the cool cards. There is a hermit in here for more money, which is perfect. We do some more rerolls. I'm now looking for the lucky cat. Cloud 9 out of that, not super useful, but not bad. In the Arcana pack now, I think it's important to use the hangman. Why? Because I want to be able to draw the one single 3 that I have, so I can use my death card on it. And ideally, if I can also bring a fool along, I can make 2 of them straight away. The earlier we can have a bunch of these cards, the better, because it's all about re-triggering them as many times as physically possible once we have the cat, which should exist in Ante 5 somewhere in the shops. The suggested strategy for the rerolls is to spread them out so you can do more over a series of several shops. Now I had more money, so I could have gone all in on the last shop, I suppose, and maybe had the cat slightly earlier. A side note on the wheel card as well, we have higher chance for that to land with the dice, but the main purpose is to make sure I have an effect on most of my cards, because later I will be using ectoplasms, and I want them to go on a brainstorm or a blueprint for more flexibility. So if I can cover all the other cards in some kind of effect, I can guarantee that we get what I assume is a better ectoplasm. Or maybe that's just a completely insane way to nerd into the details for absolutely no reason whatsoever. The showman is now showing up doing his show thing, so we now have 2 hacks. We can reactivate all the lower cards twice, with the red seal another time, so we're playing way more cards than we're actually allowed. I also found the cooler banana, which gives me a multiplier to work with for now, because at this point we are not stable enough to just guarantee that we live through every hand with an absolutely awful setup. But there we have the main piece, the cat. So it wasn't even that deep in the shop, I had more than enough money. We can sell Lusty now, we don't need you anymore. And now we have to focus on card manipulation because I need way more lucky cards to trigger if I ever want that cat to grow beyond its currently awful 1 multiplier. If you know a way to do this better and find more lucky cards to trigger earlier so we can start growing the cat straight away, let me know. This seed can definitely be played a lot better than what I managed to do. I don't want the voucher with more tarot cards. I do want another negative dice, that's incredible. But if we buy the voucher, we will flood the shop with tarot cards and we will find less jokers. And I know there are quite a few useful things we can pick up here now, especially with the showman. We already have multiples of 2 jokers. I don't think I care about the shad here. 2 hacks is better. It will just reactivate every card I play rather than 1. And now with 2 dice we have a 4 in 5 chance to get the 20 multiplier and a 4 in 15 to get the cash. So we can start to print money. And the trade-off here is basically, do we want more reactivates with the hacks, or a blueprint to copy the hack would do the same thing? Or do we want more dice to boost that chance to 8 in 5 and 8 in 15? We threw away the regular banana, now I'm also throwing away the super cool polychrome banana because of course another hack is infinitely better. If only I had more than 2 lucky cards to play. A Brainstorm shows up finally, and this is important because for now we have more than enough score. But later we will get to a point where just reactivating the lucky cards is not enough. So on the last hand, we will have to move our Brainstorms and blueprints to reactivate the cat, which at that point should have a fairly high multiplier. So I need the flexibility to live, else I will explode a couple of antes in and the cat will never be big. So I guess that's the main problem. We need to dig in, find the perfect setup. I also need to play it well. I need to know when to play more cards. There's also a trick we can do with the Burglar later, where we can have 24 hands or something like that to play, and we can just roll through as many of the lucky cards as possible. So for now, this is just a nice, calm walk in the park, and I'm violently force-feeding my cat in the corner, trying to make it the biggest absolute unit of a colossal chungus that's ever possible. So for now, as far as I can tell, it's better to just play the 5 cards and get as many reactivations as I can. Because if I play 1, I would still score more than 70,000 and I would lose 4 cards played. Which means that we theoretically don't have as big of a cat as would have been possible. And the cat would of course also be furious not getting all the food that it craves. I want to hold on to the showman as long as I can to get more cool cards. But I don't know what's the best approach. I did sell the showman at some point because now I'm making enough money that if I find something useful, I can get rid of the showman, I can buy the thing I want, and I can just re-roll and get the showman back whenever I want him. So I can carry a good joker earlier, if that makes sense. But the downside is of course that I miss out on potential multiples of cards that I would have had if I only kept the showman and not threw him away like a bag of trash. Selling a hack here was the only logical choice. And we're now at the end of the base game. The cat is at 54 multiplier. We're printing a decent amount of cash when I can now play 5 cards. We can do all the rerolls, and we can find 2 more cats that are useless because they are 1 multiplier. Fantastic stuff, game. I guess it is a game about gambling, it makes sense. With a joker slot free, I might as well grab another dice, boost the chance and see if this is better or not. The 20 multiplier should now be guaranteed, and we have an 8 in 15 to get the cash, so this is printing more money for sure. But we also play 5 less cards essentially. And as far as I know, you cannot use brainstorms or blueprints to duplicate the effect of the dice. You need to have them naturally. So if you want to add another dice, it will take up a joker slot. Could have picked up the reserved parking, but it will never trigger if I don't have any base cards. And when I later find invisible jokers, I need to get rid of all the useless stuff in my joker pile anyway, because I don't want to risk cloning something that I will not use. So I'm just gonna leave it. And by selling the showman, we only have the blueprint where the ectoplasm can land, so we can guarantee a negative that we are definitely keeping. And I will just add some whatever jokers I find for now until I find more of the stuff that I need. I definitely have to dig up the showman again, because we need him to find more blueprints, more brainstorms and that kind of cool stuff. Another ectoplasm shows up, and we might as well use it, because The hand size will end up being 6 cards, so I can carry the 5 lucky cards and a steel card if I wanted, for example. And I still want this to land on the Brainstorm, but now I'm thinking maybe I've gone too far in on this, because if I kept the showman, I could have filled the empty slots I now have with something useful. So this is another far from optimized place in the run where the cat is suffering from a horrendous lack of food. But on the plus side, I can now safely play 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 cards per hand. I still don't have enough lucky cards to fill out all the hands I can play. And if you know a way to get to that position sooner, you can let me know and I can maybe do this better next time. The score is still fine for now at least, and the cat is growing. The deck, far from optimal. We have 27 threes, but not all of them are the correct kind of 3. The invisible jokers are a bit tricky, because what exactly do I want to copy? It's more likely to land on something I don't really need. But we might as well grab him if we get a blueprint. That's amazing. And now, already I need to multiply the cat to get enough score to live. And I can only retrigger him twice at this stage, but it should still be fine. The cat is now sitting at 120 multiplier, so retriggering that puts us at 11E. This is another very important shop because we have a natural negative blueprint, which I would not have found if I didn't have the showman, and there's another blueprint. So now suddenly we have flexibility. I now have 4 potential retriggers for the hack or the cat. And this is one of those things I've been trying to figure out and take notes on, is for what shops exactly do I need the showman, or should I just carry him through the entire run and see what happens, even if that means that I have to live with 1 less retrigger for a while. The invisible joker turns into another blueprint, so now we are really cooking with blueprinted up hack cats. Add some negative dice to that soup and we can hopefully cook up something incredible. There's yet another hack. We might as well bring him for now, because the only thing we need now is a burglar and later an idol. Just an interesting side note on this boss: if you come here with 3 dice, you will pull 18-7 cards face down and you will never see your hand. But if your hand is mostly the same card, of course nothing matters. We just slap in some 19Es and we move on. And we have the burglar, so we sell the new hack instantly. We only need 1 hack for the retriggers. So now we need to trigger the burglar multiple times when we go into a hand. Then we swap him for the hack to retrigger the cards as many times as possible and boost the cat. And then at the end, when we need the score, we flip the cat in, so I have to juggle my cards every single round. If I miss it even once, I explode and the run is over. But I still don't have enough cards to play 21 hands. I can now safely play through the entire deck. I only need to make sure I save 1 hand to get the score at the end. And that's it. This is now the game plan, and this takes 1,000 years to do, because soon we will be playing 20 hands every round. I still need to purge the deck. It's very important to get that done soon, because the idol will attach itself to 1 specific card in the deck and multiply that by 2. And if it's something else than my lucky 3, it's completely useless and I will again explode with my cat. And the cat is now up to 396 multiplier. I'm hoping I can get to a point where I can grow him by 100-ish every round, and that way we can push him very far, very fast. Unless something goes horribly wrong. Another blueprint, sure, why not? 5 blueprints in the same seed is pretty insane. Also the 2 negative dice. Are there any more natural negatives that will help? In previous attempts I did find a card sharp, which is 3 times multiplier if you have played the same hand before in the same round. And I also had I think it's the family, where you get 4 times multiplier if your hand is 4 of a kind. And both of those were negative. Sadly, I have no idea where I found them. But that is a potential improvement of this build. A lot of this now becomes shop reroll simulators. If you like shopping and digging for items, this is a fantastic seed for that. We're making decent bank and I'm rolling it all away, gambling to find some few specific pieces that will still help. The idol, I think we might as well get you in now, because I have no idea if or when I will find you again. And scoring is becoming more and more spicy for every round. It's almost like building entirely around a cat is not the smartest move if you want to live long and go far in the game. The problem with that being that I need to live longer to build the cat bigger, but I haven't planned for that. We'll see where this ends. the deck is looking almost acceptable. I don't know why, but I end up doing a lot of runs where I try to go for just the one card in my deck, which is likely insane. And we have officially now boosted the cat to 1001. So is that a cat the size of 1,000 cats, or is it just actually a pile of 1001 cats in a trench coat pretending to be a one cool lucky cat? Either way, it's a big cat or a big pile of cats, and it's doing reasonably well. Permanently gain one more hand per round. I can reactivate the Burglar 5 times. I don't think we need more hands. Now I do have 99 problems at this stage in the game, but the number of hands is the only thing that's not the problem. I have slammed a couple of more hands into the cat. He has reached 1549 multiplier. Our Lord and Savior, the Holy Cat, here to hopefully carry the run. Now he is the star of the run, but I'm not sure if he's actually doing anything to help the run go as far as possible. It's more of a hassle herding cats, flipping all these cards around, finding things that do nothing, all while playing 1,000 hands in between the cool episodes of Shop Reroll Simulator. But we're doing it for science. I have now reached a point where multiplying the cat multiplier with the blueprints and all that stuff isn't enough, but we can still get away with playing a couple of hands with that setup and we will get the score to live. But we are probably approaching the end now, so if you know a way to do this better, I think I've seen on Reddit people get 2000 multiplier or something around that, which was my target. I'm definitely not hitting it this run, but I will have to go back and dig up the extra negatives I had that I know will help. But then I also need to play it differently. I need to find a way to live through some more rounds. We now have 80 cards in the deck. Tiny, insignificant deck size by my standards, but every single one of them is now the card we need. So now that I can play a lot of hands, my score is instead not enough. But since we have this round left, I might as well play through as many cards as I can, see what the chances are for boosting the cat to be slightly bigger. I could also maybe do some seed science, dig up something that has even more negative dice so we can guarantee the chance on every card we play. That will really lead to a big cat. But I think there's still potential here to improve. This is very far from a perfectly played round. So if you want to look big and cool and smart on the internet, you can correct my horrendous misplays and maybe find some better solutions for a bigger, cooler cat. I'm leaving the stats and the seed on the screen. I also have some notes on how I played it that I can share if anyone wants them. 1400 cards played but only 1500 rerolls. Those are some rookie numbers. I mentioned earlier 80 cards is not that big a deck, so if you would like to watch another crazy Balatro experiment, I have one where I made 463 kings because nobody stopped me. Thank you for watching.